Hey guys, Andrew here with Nashville Severe Weather. Hope you're doing well this afternoon. We got a severe thunderstorm warning for Davidson County, and I want to take you over to a different radar here. This is the radar out of Nolensville, TVNA. Severe thunderstorm warning for Davidson and Williamson counties, and that's going to be until 6:30 tonight. And what we're looking at here is some strong winds that are coming into Davidson County now, right along I-40, where I-40 goes into Cheatham County. And these winds could be up around 60 miles an hour. And as they push into Davidson County, that's going to be right around Riverwalk, right around I-40 and McCrory Lane. So that's right where the strongest winds are now. Let me back out just a little bit, and you can see who all's included here in the severe thunderstorm warning. And that's going to be Davidson County, basically south of Briley Parkway on the north side of town there. So basically southern Davidson County and then northern Williamson County from Fairview over to Brentwood over to around Nolensville. And so this includes Antioch, Creve Hall, Vanderbilt, Bells Bend, all of the I-440 loop there in Davidson County. So you can see the yellow polygon there. That is our severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect, and that's going to be in effect until 6:30 tonight. All right, so area of strongest winds now. This TBNA, which is what we're looking at here, has a great read on this storm, and we're looking at TBNA says there could be even some plus 60-mile-an-hour winds, about 63 miles an hour there, right around Anderson Road in Cheatham County, right over the county line from Davidson. So the strongest winds are moving to the east. I'm backing the radar up here a little bit, and you can see the colors getting brighter. That is that's your wind, and so the blues here are considered generally severe winds. So these strong winds are heading into Riverwalk, the subdivisions there along I-40 and Bellevue. That's where the strongest winds are now. In fact, a pocket now of pretty strong winds showing up here right on I-40 around 67 miles an hour. So right along I-40, Walkup Road, that's right. That's a road that goes right off of Highway 70S there in Pegram, going right over that neighborhood there, right over the Middle Tennessee Veterans Cemetery there on McCrory Lane, and then going into the Riverwalk neighborhood. Some pretty strong winds being indicated there right now. So let's back out just a little bit and show you where this is. Strongest winds are right here in southwestern, or coming into southwestern Davidson County now, pushing off to the east. All right, so who is included and who's not? You can see your yellow polygon here. Nashville, downtown Nashville is included in this. This is probably going to be mostly a southern Davidson County issue, but Bells Bend, Nashville, Vanderbilt, Creve Hall, Antioch, Brentwood, Natchez Trace Bridge, Pasco, Bellevue, all you guys are included in this warning until 6:30 this evening. So now strongest winds, pretty good core of strong winds now over the Middle Tennessee Veterans Cemetery, and that's going to be pushing east over the Riverwalk neighborhood here very shortly. So let me read a little bit of this warning, and then we're going to go over and check out what the Weather Service is saying. The warning here says that 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and penny-size hail are possible, and so the biggest threat with this is going to be those 60-mile-per-hour winds, and it's going to be less of a hail issue, more of a straight-line wind issue. So that's what this warning is in effect for, and that's in effect until 6:30, about another 15, 20 minutes or so. Weather Service says velocities continue to increase, and now over 60 knots on TBNA. So we're looking at winds now over 60 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour. And your latest update here is showing winds still in that mid-60 range right over the Riverwalk subdivision there between 70S and I-40. So Newsom Station Road, McCrory Lane, right along Newsom Station Road there, could get some pretty strong winds as this comes through. This is going to be a straight line wind issue. So, and it's going to pick up pretty fast, and then it'll go away pretty quickly too, but it's pretty strong right there around Riverwalk right now. Weather Service says that damaging winds could knock down some trees and power lines. That's possible with this. As it comes through, there's a lot of trees out here, okay? So if I turn the radar off, you see right here around the subdivision. This is the Riverwalk subdivision, right where this wind is pushing through right now. And that's an aerial view of that subdivision. But all around it, you see all these trees along Highway 70, along I-40, along the road there. There's a railroad that runs through there. A lot of trees. So those certainly could be blown down as this pocket of wind moves through. So let's back out just a little bit. There's some pretty gusty winds moving all through Bellevue, and on the southwestern side of Davidson County. And so everybody's going to get some gusty winds. If you live out kind of in the Bellevue area, it's going to be pretty gusty. But the strongest area, at least what's being indicated on radar, strongest area of winds is going to be around Riverwalk right now, pushing east toward where Highway 70 and 70S, I think I called that 70S a little bit earlier, but anyway, where 70S and 70 come together right there around, they're just north and west of Bellevue. So that's what we're watching. That's what kind of prompted this severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect until 6:30. And so that's going to be in effect for everybody basically in the southern two-thirds of Davidson County, and then sort of the northern third of Williamson County, north of Franklin. It includes Brentwood, and some gusty winds possible as this comes through. Let's switch over to we've not done this yet. Let's switch over to a traditional radar view and kind of show you what these storms are doing as far as rainfall and all that goes. You notice right off the bat this green that's coming down through Williamson County. This is a boundary, pretty strong boundary here that is pushing east, and that's kind of helping to fuel these storms, okay? And we've been watching this for a little while. A lot of lightning with it, and some very heavy rain from Fairview back down into Hickman County, and then, of course, moving into Davidson County right now. So that's what we're looking at, and when there's plenty of storms back to the west also, all the way back to the Tennessee River and beyond. So it's going to be a wet evening, as we've been talking about, with the possibility of storms. But right now we're focused on this severe thunderstorm warning that is for this core of a strong storm there, moving into Davidson County and moving east into further into Davidson County. But the warning does include the northern parts of Williamson as well. So let's go back over to the velocities here in just a second. First of all, let's go over and take a look at the, excuse me, let's go over and take a look at the the Oak Hill camera. Oak Hill camera is pointed up kind of high, but you see the lightning there. This is a pretty electrically active storm, and so that is a view there, a live view, video feed there from Oak Hill. That camera kind of facing up there, and you can see right into that cloud. You can see the lightning there off in the distance. This is going to be quite a bit west of Oak Hill, but generally moving in that direction, however. All right, let's go back over to velocities. We want to keep an eye on these. This is what prompted the warning that we're covering right now, and still some very strong winds being indicated over Riverwalk and just updated basically everywhere from McCrory Lane over to Newsom Station Road, approaching 70S there as you come out west of Bellevue, west of I-40. And so winds could be indicating, or being indicated there, 60, 63 miles an hour. That's up at about 900 feet. All right, so even, up on those hilltops out there, it can be very windy if that's not reaching the lowest surfaces. At least those hilltops up there definitely could be getting some strong winds. Trees and power lines could be an issue with this as this comes through. Weather Service says that radar shows the strongest winds are along Highway 70 north of I-40 in Bellevue. So far southwest Davidson County is what they're talking about. They're looking at the same thing we are here, and this is the area of focus. Is this area of strong wind right here around the Riverwalk area in Newsom Station Road. So if you live in Bellevue, and especially near I-40 in Bellevue or up Old Hickory Boulevard, Sawyer Brown Road, there north of 70S, really anybody in Bellevue that's kind of north of the Pasco area, really everybody in Bellevue needs to have a heads up on this, because it could be a straight line wind issue as this comes in. And it'll be there here very soon. All right, let me check on a couple of things here on some other screens. Make sure that I'm not missing anything. Yeah, David notes over on Twitter, nothing currently rotating, but strong winds moving into south parts of Nashville may drop trees. Yes, so we're not seeing, that's a good differentiation. We're not really seeing any rotation here. This is a straight line wind event, and that's what the warning is for straight line winds. So these winds still, there's a latest radar picture still being indicated up in the mid-60s there, right along McCrory Lane, near I-40. And if you turn the radar off, you see it's just a lot of trees right there around Avondale Park, right there, River Bridge, the Meadows, Somerset Farms, Sheffield, Hanover Park, Rolling River, Hooten House, Saddle Ridge, Bellevue Manor. All these areas here could be seeing some pretty strong winds here shortly. Right now it's kind of out over these wooded areas along McCrory Lane. And so certainly possible to see some tree damage out there, which usually translates to some power outages if those trees come down alongside the road and affect the power lines. So we'll be watching for that too. But that's what we're looking at now. David's over on Twitter, and he's looking at the same thing, the blue area of severe winds incoming to Bellevue. Percy Warner is next, so we should say if you're outside, you need to be in. Now, not sure, with it being dark, probably not too many people out in the park, but that is an area that this is headed. So if you are outside, you got some outside activities, know that if you're in Bellevue, you got some pretty strong wind heading your way shortly, and that's indicated with these blues, right from McCrory Lane all the way up to Highway 70, and moving through some of the neighborhoods there, Avondale Park, River Bridge, Somerset Farms, Sheffield, the Meadows, Saddle Ridge, all going to get wind here in just a little bit. So let's go back over and look at the Oak Hill camera. You can see the lightning there getting a little bit closer. Storm is moving east toward Oak Hill and toward most people there in the southern part of Davidson County. And so communities like Forest Hills, Belmead, Oak Hill, Berry Hill, Creve Hall, Brentwood, you folks know that this storm is coming, and it's going to get pretty breezy if this thing holds together. And right now it certainly is, and looks like that there are some pretty strong winds coming through the western sides of Bellevue right now in the neighborhoods out there. And we'll probably be moving through town here in Bellevue very shortly, coming right down 70S and affecting neighborhoods around there. So we are... in fact, let me go over and look at some reports and see if we're getting any reports of some of these strong winds coming through. Not seeing a lot yet, but as this thing moves through the neighborhoods there, I'm sure we'll get some reports. So the way you send us reports, if you would tweet using hashtag TSpotter, that's TSPOTTER. If you would tweet using that hashtag, we'll get those reports. Will's over there taking those reports, and he gets those over to the Weather Service very quickly. And so if you have a report to send in, let us know where the damage is, and only send us damage reports or observation. You saw severe weather of some kind. You're looking at the Oak Hill camera now while I'm talking, but if you see some sort of damage, trees down, power lines down, of course, don't get close to them. But after the storm is over, send us those damage reports and or any severe report, and we'll get that right over to the Weather Service. Will does a great job with those reports. And use hashtag TSpotter in your tweet. Let us know where you are and what you saw, and we would love to know that. All right, let's go back over to velocities here, and let's take a look at where the blue is now. That's what we're watching, is the blue here on the radar. And right over River Bridge, the Meadows, Somerset Farms, Saddle Ridge, Hooten House, right here along I-40 and 70S is where the strongest winds are being indicated right now. And certainly the potential there to see, it was 65-mile-an-hour winds, if those are reaching the ground, certainly the potential there to see some wind damage with some trees and power lines down, and then that's going to be moving east into sort of the more densely populated areas of Bellevue here in the next 5 minutes. So it'll be interesting to see if these radar signatures still hold together, and they seem to be still some 55, 58, maybe 60-mile-an-hour winds there on this latest scan. So we're just going to keep watching this and see what happens with it over the next few minutes. There's Oak Hill, and let's bounce over and look at a different radar here, a more traditional view, and see about who's going to be getting rain. So this yellow polygon, severe thunderstorm warning, is in effect until 6:30. and that is going to be in effect till 6:30. That's about another 7-8 minutes, something like that. So that affects basically the southern 2/3 of Davidson County and the northern third, let's say, of Williamson County. Pretty much everybody's going to get some rain showers out of this. Heaviest part's going to be right here within the warning, but also some heavier storms, some downpours down here in Hickman County as well, going to be moving up into Williamson County. We're going to watch them and see what they do and how they evolve. They're still kind of getting their act together, and this little boundary here, this green line, will help to fuel those storms as these cells interact with that boundary. So we're going to watch these carefully over the next little bit, as we are also watching this severe warned storm here around Bellevue, or at least that's where the strongest winds are. All right, let's go back over and look at velocities. And let's reiterate that this right now is a straight line wind event. So this is this means that the winds are not circulating; they are going in a straight line. It's kind of like it's wind pushing in one direction. All right, and that's kind of what we're looking at here. Not seeing rotation signatures or anything like that there in Bellevue. Just some pretty strong winds moving through. So what it looks like here to me, there's some weak wind signatures here in Bellevue, and then right behind that is some pretty gusty winds. And so what that sort of tells me is, if I were to guess what it's like out there, is that winds will be, kind of calm, and then all of a sudden you'll get hit by some pretty strong gusty winds right behind that. So that may be what you experience. It may not, but that's still looking at some pretty strong winds there in the 58, 60 mile an hour range in small pockets right there around 70S and I-40. But that's going to be affecting pretty much the northern half of Bellevue if radar is showing that correctly. But you can't get too specific. Bellevue as a whole probably see some gusty winds as this comes through. All right, Forest Hills. If you're in Forest Hills, Belmead, Green Hills Mall, Lipscomb University, Oak Hill, Radnor Lake, Otter Creek, Forest Hills, Creve Hall, Brentwood, all of you guys could see some gusty winds. So up and down Hillsborough Road, up and down this is going to be 70S that comes out of Nashville into Bellevue, and then Highway 100. That's what I was trying to think of. Highway 100 also could get some gusty winds out of this around Percy Warner Park, and then just moving to the east over southern Davidson County. So those are the folks that look to be getting the strongest winds over the next little bit. Let me check with the Weather Service here and see what they are saying as far as updates. Nothing in the past couple of minutes. They were just noting that the strongest winds are near the the I-40 and Highway 70 interchange in Bellevue there. So that's right where TBNA, which is the radar we're using right now, that's right where it's showing it. So yes. Let's see if the lightning's picking up here. Kind of have the Oak Hill camera over on the other screen here, and pretty decent lightning show going on there. I think I barely missed it, but yeah, you'll see some lightning over there on the Oak Hill camera. And so, man, with a sky like that, yeah, you'll kind of know that something's coming. It looks pretty gnarly there to the west, right over the hills there above Franklin Road. So. Decent storm coming in, and if you are over there in that Oak Hill, Creve Hall area, be wrapping up what you're doing outside, because you need to head on in as this comes in. All right, let's talk about the reporting. So we mentioned this just a second ago, but we really would love to have a sense of what's going on out there, just some kind of situational awareness of kind of what is going on out there as far as the weather goes. If you see severe weather, so if you see winds that, are a little stronger for your comfort, and if you see trees down, anything like that, if you experience something severe in this storm that's coming in, we would love to know about that. And I'll go ahead and pull the radar back up for you while I'm talking, and you can kind of see the blues here in Bellevue pushing east. And so if you see severe weather, especially there in Bellevue, you've seen any trees down, power lines down, anything like that. Obviously, be very, very safe, but send us a report of that. Let us know what you see. Take a picture if you'd like. Definitely let us know where you are. Shoot us a tweet and use hashtag TSpotter in your tweet, and we'll get that right over to the Weather Service, and it just helps us to know what's going on out there. But we would certainly love to know if you have any damage reports out of this storm. So let's kind of regroup here. This warning's in effect for about another, just a few minutes. So about another 2 minutes. And so we're going to see what they do with this. And in fact, they've just updated us here. The Weather Service has just updated us and said that the winds are coming down, and they do not plan on reissuing the warning at this time. So the warning is set to expire in a minute, and they do not plan on reissuing right now. So still some strong winds possible here in this storm. The Weather Service believes that they will be subsevere for the time being, and of course they would not be afraid to reissue that warning if they needed to, but it looks like they are going to let it expire as these strong winds cross Old Harding Pike right there around 70s. But they are a little bit less impressive than they were a little bit ago. A little bit ago they were bouncing up in the mid 60s. Now they're in the upper 50s. So winds coming down just a little bit there in that storm, but still strong out there toward Bellevue. But definitely send us your reports if you see any severe weather. Okay, let's go back over to the Oak Hill camera for a second, watch a little bit of a lightning show, and then we will see if this warning disappears off of our screen, and believe it will, as this, in fact, it just did. So 6:30 now, and the warning has disappeared off of the radar, and the storm is now considered subsevere based on the radar. So the Weather Service has let it expire. There are no warnings in effect for Davidson or Williamson counties. And so this storm, though, will continue to push east. It'll come right toward this live video feed here at the in Oak Hill. This is along Franklin Road, and the storm will be pushing that direction. And it looks like there's a little bit of a shelf cloud there on the very bottom of your screen, where it could look pretty interesting there. But so far, subsevere. They have just issued a significant weather advisory for Davidson County and northeastern Williamson County. And so they've gone with a significant weather advisory instead of a severe thunderstorm warning right now. So that is good news. All right. Hey, we're going to jump off of here. And if anything changes, we will be right back on YouTube Live. But right now, no warnings are in effect for Davidson or Williamson counties.